Gotta unlock the door.
Good.
Alright, light is blinking. Hello there, fellow courtesans, concubines, and curly-cued Casanovas with a consuming commitment to crass communication and coy coquetry, like this creepy curmudgeon right fucking here, like this cranky curmudgeon right fucking here, and all you creepy and cranky curmudgeons out fucking there. Welcome to White Trash Rob's NODCAST, another installment, 2 weeks in a row. Shiver me timbers, my stars and garters, roll me in clover, and blow me over. I'm back again, which means what? I must be off drugs. And I am. I think by the time this comes out, I will be 3 weeks clean again. But I'd like to welcome back to White Trash Rob's NODCAST my brother.
Hello.
Mark Ducky. He hates that, but he is Mark from the Ducky Boys. Mark from Dirty Water. Mark from LIND the Unloved. Mark from the Warning Shots. Mark from Sinners and Saints, our band together. And we've done a couple of episodes before. Today is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
And to act as an antidote to the venom that I injected into the world via YouTube, via the video that I put out last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever this comes out, I can never tell when these are going to come out, but it happens to be Thanksgiving Day today. So I thought, rather than poison the interweb with more Darkness Incarnate, like I poured out last week, we'd like to do something fun and light. So Mark and I were talking about doing a Thanksgiving list.
Yeah, we did, last time we did top fives or something like that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, we could even do the same ones again. I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah,
So
I'm probably going to forget, and we'll just end up doing it again, because nature of the way my mind works circularly, but...
That was quite impressive how you did all that alliteration.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I do it even in casual conversation sometimes.
It's almost like rapperish.
Sort of. I think it's got something to do with the lyric writing or something, but yeah, we did the Charlestown episode, which was actually that was one of the more popular episodes.
That was pretty funny. There were people that were like 100% on board with what you were saying about the hive thing in Charlestown.
Yeah, for real. And I felt that was the core of it, the hive mind thing. But we did a couple of top 5 lists, and today what we're gonna do, like I said, we gotta dig deep. Is do things that we're grateful for. And this is similar to a recurring segment that has appeared on this particular, whatever the fuck it is, tete-a-tete vis-a-vis the video, called Back from the Edge, that I was doing back during the year or two that I was consistently active with this podcast, which was consistent with my, at the time, invincible sobriety. And as these fell off, so did I. So coming back with another week should reassure anybody from last week's episode, in which I was talking about suffocating myself with a dog leash. I'm a bit past that now, and once again, life...
Autoerotic asphyxiation?
If I did it, no bullshit, if I did it, I was going to do that. I was going to not leave a note. I was going to drop my pants and puddle them around my ankles, hopefully get a rod, and then leave like a little anal intruder dildo in a thing of Pond's cold cream, so everybody would be like, he was suicidal, but he was also kind of weird too. We don't know. We just don't know. Maybe he just went too far. But I figured it's similar to the Back from the Edge thing. It happens to be Thanksgiving Day today, while we're recording this from an undisclosed location in the cold far north. So I will go first. I won't do my whole list. I'm just going to do one.
All right.
The first thing that I always think of, and I'm going to say something serious for a second. When I'm at my best, one of the things I do every morning to sort of check my own darkness is I list a couple of things that I'm grateful for, like legit. And it's something I picked up in the program. I'm not trying to, smother you in fatuous platitudes or cliches or anything, but it is something I learned to do because I need to do that, because if I don't, the jet roar of darkness in my head will pop my eyeballs out 10 minutes after I fucking wake up. It'll just reign supreme. So the first thing I'm almost always grateful for, especially considering the way I lived my life at all stages, whether when I was a fucking degenerate alcoholic, whether when I was a gang member, whether I was in the projects, Whether I was fucking, you know, stealing cars for absolutely no reason, breaking into cars. We used to break into cars back in the projects, all my friends, and steal the radios and shit and say, yeah, we're going to sell them, we're going to make lots of money. We didn't fucking sell them. They just piled up in our fucking room.
It's not like there was a pawn shop on Main Street in Charlestown. Right?
No, and we weren't good enough criminals to know any of the real criminals. It's not like we knew a chop shop or something, but we were acting like we were like...
But you got that cassette player, man.
Yeah, the ones that popped out, and we just have piles of them in the fucking room. Much more entertaining was the time I stole every traffic cone in Charlestown.
That was fucking funny.
Yeah, I was so fucking mad about that.
How many were there? There was like 20 of them.
I had about 20 regular sized ones, about 15 of the real big ones, and I had the blinking barrel.
Didn't you have a street sign too?
I had pried off I pried off a sign once, but it...
I remember that in your old room you used to use... He used to have a crossbow, and you would just shoot into the wall.
Thank
God that house burned down, or Nana would have fucking killed you.
Yeah, it would punch through the wall. I wasn't actually aiming for the wall. I would aim for things like my biohazard tapes. I shot all my biohazard tapes when I was like 13 when they went on. This is no disrespect to Biohazard. They were my favorite band when I was a fucking kid, but they were all our favorite bands that were around back then. We've just done this big Soviet revision thing where we pretend that wasn't the case, but we all love Biohazard. Fucking admit it.
Look, there's even a Carhartt still here.
Yeah.
To prove it.
To be fair, I had a conversation about this on Twitter the other day. I started wearing the Carhartt, and it was because of Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Oh.
I saw him in a Carhartt in either the OPP video or the Ghetto Bastard video, and I was like, "That's fucking smoking." I was like, "That's hot."
That's probably what Biohazard saw too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But the reason I shot their tapes when I was like 13, whatever.
Because they did a song with Onyx.
No, I actually liked the song with Onyx. It's because they came on Headbangers Ball with Ricky Rockman on his birthday, and they brought him a cake, okay? And they fucking sang "Happy Birthday" to him, but they did it like Wigga. Like, happy birthday to you, yo motherfucker, Ricky Rocky. Hey, happy birthday, yo motherfucker, to you. I was like, dude, enough is enough. What the fuck was I thinking? And the thing is, I still listen to Biohazard from time to time. They were fucking awesome, and they were the best live band of that era, like, hands down. Were you there when we saw them with Pantera?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pantera, them, and Sepultura.
Oh, yeah.
They were on the Chaos AD tour.
That was a fucking awesome fucking tour.
Yeah, that's funny, because when we got in there, it was at Great Woods, and they had the lawn closed, so it was just the pavilion.
Yep.
And as we walked in, Billy from Biohazard ran by us, shirtless, playing a guitar.
Yeah, he had
like, what the fuck?
The wireless system, and he came out in the crowd and started the chord noise from there. He was honestly like the mayor of the scene back then, because he was super personable. Not that the other guys weren't. If you talk to the other guys, they were cool too, mostly. But Billy would come out and drink with anybody. Like, he'd be out back at the Rat drinking before the fucking band went on. And but when that happened with the Ricky Rockman thing, I was betrayed, and I fucking blew the tapes up with a crossbow. God knows, though, if I knew that Billy would end up filling in for me in Blood for Blood years later, the 13-year-old in me would have masturbated. Like, because they were the fucking band, like, back in the day. They were so fucking good.
It's funny because they had the back and forth vocal that Blood for Blood did.
Yes.
Except when he filled in for you, he couldn't hit the notes.
No, it was Craig and Ian that did it. He had shredded his voice by that point. He used to have that high, which is like kind of my voice, or at least similar in at least like the range and sort of timbre. But by the time he had joined Blood for Blood, he had shredded it and was way lower register and much more of a scream. It was Craig and Ian that were mostly taking my vocals on stage when they went out. But to bring it all full circle, I'm grateful for Biohazard. They provided me with some great music when I was younger. I still listen to them from time to time.
I can name all 5 boroughs because of them.
Yeah, Brooklyn,
Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens.
Yeah. Yep. I now know the 5 boroughs of Manhattan or New York because I've bought drugs in all 5 of them, and Queens. And Sunset Park, Brooklyn, rules the school. They had the best dope for years, but the last time I was down there, when we were on tour with Cruel Hand, I bought 25 bags. I shot them all within 2 hours, and it didn't even make me unsick. I'm sorry, Mark doesn't like to hear that stuff. I'm not that's just how ugly and savage my habit was before I ended up in rehab, which I need to keep in mind. But let's start with the first thing I'm grateful for, because I don't want this to go too long. Give me 1 second. Yeah, we got time. We got time. We got time. I don't like them to get more than 20 minutes. Actually, you know what? No, Jason let me use his WeTransfer Pro, so I don't got to worry about the files getting too big. So we're rolling. The first thing that I'm almost always grateful for, especially like I said with the way I lived for years, for a variety of fucking reasons. It started off, like I said, in the projects, doing stupid shit. Stealing cars, breaking into houses for no reason. I mean, we were acting like we were criminals, but we were doing it because that's what we thought we were supposed to do, because that's what you do when you live in the projects. And selling weed, which back then was a big deal. You get in trouble for that shit, but whether it was in the hardcore scene, watching people knife each other every fucking night, or then it was years later me running around as a junk bomb in every major city in America, going to every neighborhood and copping dope without a connection. That is really risky behavior. I am grateful, truly grateful, even right now as I sit here, even last week I was grateful for it at the depths of my despair, that I'm not in prison and that I'm not in jail. And the reason for that is I could still have wrecked my life and be kicking dope and still be in prison and still have to deal with all of that detritus, but then on top of it have to stab somebody at the drop of a hat because they're trying to take my fucking Twinkies. So I am almost always, one of the first things I think of when I stop and check myself and say, what am I fucking grateful for? Get positive. It's that I'm not in prison and jail. And considering the way I lived for so long, you know, many of the Charleston guys we grew up with end up habitually in prison. Mm-hmm. I often ask, why was I so lucky? I've been in jail a few times, not any major length, but never prison. And Adam 22, when we did the No Jumper podcast, was like, I can't believe you've never been in prison. I was like, me neither. Like, I kissed the ground when I think about it. And I think it was largely a function of the fact that I was never in a place for more than either a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I moved around for so long. What happened to all the guys in Charlestown is, once they got strung out and started committing crimes in furtherance of their drug habit, or just the copping of the drugs themselves, the cops know who they are.
Oh man, I remember when we lived on Dunstable Street. We lived in Dunstable Street in the Boston housing projects.
Yeah, Mission One.
Nothing brings a community together more than, say, like a car accident. So there was a screech, crashing of a car. Everybody in the whole street's out there. I mean, there was hundreds of people out there, and I just heard the cops saying, like, "Oh, it was so and so. We'll go pick him up." Like, he was that known.
For sure.
To the police. Like,
what happened with a lot of the, like, one of the guys that we lived next door to, I'm not going to mention his name, of course, but he was a good dude. He was an addict. Every time he lived in there were 3 projects in Charlestown. There were the Mission One projects, the Red Brick projects, which are the federal projects, and there was Charles Newtown, where back in the 80s the cops wouldn't even go. If there was a call, they'd wait outside. But they know which projects people live in, so if you see them coming from another one, you just pick them up. You just stop them and you get a free bust. So these guys pick up charges after charges, and they end up getting habitual, start doing prison time, and then they get hardened to it. I'm grateful music allowed me to escape that cycle, because I was a recalcitrant addict. Jail or prison would not have stopped me. I mean, maybe it would have. I don't know. Maybe it would have checked me. Maybe slowed me down. But until I was ready to quit, I would have kept piling on charges too. Every time I walked out of the fucking federal projects, I would have got picked up. So I'm grateful for that. Dig deep. Your turn.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was the music. The music saved me in more ways than one.
I guess I gotta say, if I'm thankful for one today, I'm glad you're alive.
I am too.
I'm gonna keep it that simple. Go ahead. What's your next one?
Oh man, return served that quick. I thought I was gonna have a minute to sip my drink and wax poetic in my head. Like, what else am I grateful for? Today, I'm actually grateful I'm alive, and I should mention that because last week I wasn't, and that was the truth. But I have lived long enough now and through enough fucking free fall and abyss that it has become evident to me by this point in my life that if you are suicidal out there, give it some time, because things often do change. My situation has not changed. I'm still in picking up the pieces right now, but my attitude has, and you know, that's something that I've seen time and again. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be alive. Put our dicks away now. I'm grateful that I still have full use of my body.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'm mobile and that I'm mostly functional as far as my health goes.
We're mostly healthy. Yeah.
Mostly healthy. Yeah.
Actually, I got the. Should I tell them the hiccup story? Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
It's so anything that's fucking ridiculous and stupid. If you know somebody that's going to happen to, and you know me, it's going to happen to me. This week I got the hiccups on Monday. Now there's a couple things going on, work stress and all of that. I'm working on a recording. Got to get that done.
Keep your voice up if you can. Just
okay. There was a female giving me a little bit of a hard time, which is completely unnecessary. And bye-bye. And then there's this guy sending me emails about the state of mind. So I got the hiccups on Monday, and they didn't go away until Wednesday night. It's just like a weird mental thing, I think.
That's what the doctors thought.
Yeah, they thought the doctor actually said, like, she said, this isn't unusual, and I just want you to know that I've also had people in my family that have had issues with drugs, and you're not weird for this to happen to you. And I'm like, thanks for being nice. But I'm weird for this to happen. It went on for over 48 hours.
Damn.
If like a person might laugh at that and think like, oh, the hiccups.
I'm not laughing.
The hiccups fucking 48 hours. I could not say a full sentence. I had to talk like Donald Trump. Everything was like an incomplete thought. Because I had to stop because I was going to hiccup again. Or it would just cut me right off.
Yeah.
But when it finally stopped, it was like I had done 1,000,000 sit-ups.
Yeah.
It was fucking awful.
I'm just going to interject for a second. The reason I can empathize and I'm not smirking or laughing right now is when I used to still take opiates orally back at the beginning, particularly Vicodin, I used to get severe hiccups for as long as I kept using, which of course would be sometimes days at a time. And it sucked the root. It was excruciatingly painful to the point that, yeah, and afterwards you feel torn up like you've broken ribs and stuff like that. But was there something else you were going to finish with that?
No, I was half-baked.
No. Gotcha.
No, I'm not.
Not presently.
No.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that would shock me. I would be stunned. That's not your trip, but I always think of my good friend Jack Shattuck, and I've talked about him on this podcast before.
Jack Attack.
Good shout out to Jack. I used him more than once on the Back from the Edge segment when I was trying to fucking bring myself back from my own state of darkness at the time. Particularly one time when I was fiending to get high, which, by the way, the whisper's still there, but right now it's a low murmur. And right now I'm committed to staying clean. I don't want it back. But that's also to illustrate to anybody out there grappling with what I was talking about last week. It ebbs and flows. Right now it's barely there. Last week was not the same. Last week it was a roar. But Jack, because of what happened to him, he couldn't shoot up if he wanted to. He couldn't commit suicide if he wanted to. He would have to talk somebody into doing that for him. That freedom alone is something to celebrate. No matter how relentless the drive to want to do it is for me and for any addict out there, at least I still have the goddamn mobility and choice to do so. At least I have the choice to commit suicide. I mean, that's not nothing to celebrate, I guess, but the fact that I have the wherewithal to do so, that's something that I've checked myself with as well.
The thing about Jack is that he's really inspiring because he's got a lot of adversity, but he doesn't. It doesn't show.
No, he hides it well, and I'm not going to out Jack by saying this. I'm hoping he's still working on his book. We've talked about it for ages. We've talked at great length on the phone and etc. I want to have him on this podcast. The only thing is I have to hook up an audio rig for him because this camera's just not that sensitive yet. We're, townies, so we have shrill, nasally Ravens caws.
Ladies!
But I want to have him on the podcast. If you don't think underneath and inside, he feels as singled out by the universe.
Oh, I'm
because
sure.
of what happened. He has a rage, and rightly so. And I pray to God that he finds the words with which to express it, because there are many more people. He could help a lot of people, but I aim to have him on the podcast.
He's also doing comedy. We should go see him.
He was a riot. I did. I went and saw him do stand-up.
I fucking missed it.
Dude, he was a fucking riot. And everybody was bombing. Everybody was bombing. It was the toughest crowd I've ever seen in my life. It was like one of those deals. First of all, doing 5 minutes of comedy is a nightmare because people are prone to just tell jokes. And the problem is, when somebody tells you a joke, you have to do a detached, emotionally uninvested scan. And it's not amicable to group laughter. People start laughing when they're into your character. You don't have enough time to do that. He got up there and killed it. He was the first guy to get like widespread laughs. And I'm not going to go out his routine, but it was brilliant. He started with something I didn't well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. I don't care, because he comes up in the wheelchair, and it's taken a long time, and he's deliberately like swerving and going, and they put the mic in front of him. It takes a long time to do that, and he goes, "Hello, my name is Jack," and he goes, "Now, wouldn't it be funny if I really talked that way?" And the audience went fucking berserk. It was such a tension release. It was such a fucking brilliant approach, because everybody was tense anyway because of the difficulty. The audience wasn't laughing. It was a fucking ice storm in there.
But he made like a big deal out of it, like moving.
Oh my god, he made like a huge stink. He was bumping into things, and then he got up and was like, nah. And it was like, nah. Wouldn't it be funny if I talked that way? It was fucking brilliant. I was literally pounding the table, but dude is a natural. But I aim to have him on the podcast. You know, provided things proceed the way they're presently proceeding. But I got to go back to you.
He put something up online on his birthday that obviously you could tell that he's going through whatever he's going through, but he keeps it.
Oh, yes.
He keeps his public face, his persona, really. He's a great guy.
He is. He is like a living inspiration to me. We got to go back to something you're grateful for now. Dig deep. This is an antidote to poison.
Was it Colin of Arabia that he guest vocals for?
Oh, camera's running low on batteries, so he did with Colin of Arabia, but I've had him up on stage with RAMALLAH and had him sing. He sang "Living in Exile" with us.
When I saw the thing that Colin was in jail or something, he couldn't do the show.
Oh, Colin did it from.
Colin called over the phone.
He did his vocals from fucking jail. It was the most punk rock hardcore thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
But Jack subbed for somebody. Was it you? He did some show where like they were like, there's going to be a guest singer, and
oh, he sang with us.
You'll never believe who it is. And afterwards I saw the footage. I was like, it was fucking Jack.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it was. That Colin thing was the most punk rock thing ever too. Fucking singing from prison, jail in his case, but they're fucking awesome. All right, quick gratitude thing, then we'll take a break and come back for the second segment.
I mean, it's obviously it's going to be a health thing, because it's just got to be. You can't talk about that shit and not recognize that we're lucky.
Yeah, for sure. Just even have your mobility and still have our minds mostly about us. Okay, so we may continue this theme when we come back, but I have to charge this thing and I don't want to lose any footage. So real quick, bow your head, guy. Doff your hats, your bloomers, your panties. We're going to do the NODCAST prayer before we come back and do the second segment, whatever the hell that happens to be. Here we go. What I got to do to find a better way to make it through. There's got to be a better way than living like this. I was waiting for a better way and waiting for a better day. I waited so long that I lost my faith. I was waiting, I was hating, I was pleading, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came. Perhaps you, many of you out there prayed for something that never came. So at least in my case, bang, bang, and no more. Ah! For all of you inclined to sing along in real time, here it is. Bob, hit it.
What are you gonna do to find a better way to make it? There's gotta be a better way to live it like this. I was waiting for a better way, waiting for a better day. I waited so long that I lost my way. I was waiting, I was hating, I was bleeding, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came. I prayed for something that never came. So beg, begging no more. No one can save me in the pain. Throw me out of my home. My soul was a great black pit. I just had to find something I'm feeling with. It was either that or slit my fucking chest. One shot, there's no more.
right, light is blinking. Welcome back to White Trash Rob's NODCAST, a much more flowery, filled with bonhomie fucking episode, not grinding ennui, if we're going to get French about it, like last week. Hopefully this is brightening your fucking day. So we were talking about things we were grateful for in honor of the Thanksgiving, which I was thinking about the other day, and you know, what's the story? The Indians brought the Pilgrims a bunch of food and kept them alive.
Didn't they? They gave them food before the winter, right?
Yeah, but they were starving and like didn't know what to do, and they showed them like corn and potatoes and sweet potatoes.
Then we killed them.
Yeah, we made the holiday, but how about just be a little honor a treaty now and then? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's not really a white man's type of thing.
No, it really isn't.
Historically speaking, of course. I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but
no, like Bill Burr said, I can't get into it. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't like to think I'm evil, but maybe it's in here somewhere. I don't fucking know. But I mean, I've done bad shit.
Well, I think the legend of the smallpox blanket was largely a myth, because we didn't understand the concept of germs back then until around the 1900s when the flu epidemic started.
Yeah.
But as terrible as it is, it's kind of a funny story, because how awful would it be if people were like, thanks for the land, have a blanket that's laced in smallpox.
Well, you know what? You don't need extreme examples like that. When you just, if you, I mean, I'm not, you know, I avoid politics like a motherfucker on the show. I'm not trying to drive anybody out the fucking door, but I'm aiming a little lower with White Trash Rob's NODCAST. I ain't trying to drive any depressed, suicidal, addicted, or otherwise people from the room by ruminating on politics, which we're basically inundated and bombarded with everywhere we fucking turn these days. But you don't need something extreme like here's a blanket full of fleas and smallpox when you just read the litany of broken treaties and fucking sorry, Indians, Native Americans, Aboriginals, sorry, you know,
you guys got fucked.
Yeah. But then again, we're Irish, so for all we know, our ancestors were indentured servants that came over here and did 15 years on a fucking, you know.
Well, when we're fucking broke, it's not like we're putting on the Ritz here.
Well, yeah, no, that goes without saying. We were raised on fucking government cheese in the fucking stone wilderness of the fucking Charlestown projects, which Hollywood, as we've said before, woo, Irish gangster revival, woo, it's all about freedom and personal choice and people in maybe at one point back in the day in Charlestown it was like that, but the whole time I was there, people were robbing pharmacies because of Oxycontin. They weren't doing it so they could.
The movie wouldn't be very exciting if it was just a gentrified neighborhood within Boston.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They got to throw some extra shit in.
Yeah, they got to make it all about not submitting to the man's will and personal. As far as I remember, everybody was robbing the fucking pharmacies for OCs. But not that I didn't benefit from that. I bought a lot of OCs that came from.
Fell off the truck.
yeah, for sure. I ain't even kidding either. There's nothing more I can say about this without fucking statutes of limitations getting involved. But so yeah, we were talking about stuff that we're grateful for. I'm grateful I'm not strung out today. I'm like really celebrating that right now because it's fucking colder than a witch's titty and a brass bra out there right fucking now. It is fucking freezing. It's colder than Hillary Clinton's cooch. And anybody that's fucking kicked opiates knows you're carved out of ice. You freeze and burn at the same time. I'm glad I don't feel that way today. I'm glad. A whole bunch of reasons. But do you have anything else you wanted to add to the gratitude list? The Thanksgiving list.
I mean, there's the obvious ones. I think that should be added to that. Friends and family. My friends helped me out quite a bit this week.
Yeah. Mine too. My friends have really availed themselves the last couple of weeks. Who's who and who's behind me and
well, yeah.
They've been there. So
I had a series of people come through the recording studio last week that took time out of their lives to stop by. So I thought that was really nice of them.
That's cool.
It's kind of like I don't interact with people much anymore.
Yeah.
Because I just work and go home. So the fact that they came by when they did was a big help to me. And that was pretty cool.
Just,
So,
watch your volume.
oh, okay. So
Go on.
I got Steve from Far From Finished to swing by. Drew came by from Diablo Gato. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
Jesse and Andrew played on the record, and Jeff Morris. And
My boy Jesse. My boy Jeff.
yeah, Jesse is. Jesse has talked me out of some mental predicaments in the past. He's done a lot more for people than I think he realizes. But
Yeah, he is.
Jeff Morris played the guitar, and then Dave Norton came by and laid down some beautiful backing vocals. And then this week, between Jesse, my friend Bill from work, pretty appreciative of all these people.
Yeah, one of the things I had said in a tweet I popped up earlier was I'm glad, glad my immediate family's still breathing, and most of my extended family, and I'm glad that my surviving friends, because there is a day that you wake up and you got more dead friends than live ones, and mine was like 20 years ago, that day. But the ones that are surviving, my surviving friends, the ones that what did Shakespeare say? The ones that I bind with hoops of steel to me, they would lay down in traffic with me. That just seems to be the way they
bummer
are
when you
for
say
me.
it that way. It's like saying the surviving members of LIND THE because most of them are gone. You know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fucking serious.
Rest in peace, Karuba. Not a day goes by I don't think about him. Not a day.
That guy was hilarious.
He was just a good fucking dude. I mean, I could list. We wouldn't have time. I'd blow the camera out listing all the people I'd like to eulogize or in memoriam. But
I gotta cut in and tell you a Karuba story though. So Karuba was Rob's friend.
he's your friend too.
Well, inevitably I met all these people along the way, but he came. I used to work very briefly at this club called Karma Club.
I remember that.
Where I think it was either the Cox Bar show or it was that first Edge Day, the last show for 10 Yard Fight. But Karuba came in, and he wasn't that tall. He was
taller than you thought.
I think he was like my height.
He was a little bit taller than me, a little bit.
Okay, so, but he was big.
Yes.
I mean, broad.
Yeah.
He was as wide as this fucking front seat.
Yes, he was. He
And,
was indeed.
He's showing me pictures. And he's like, "Oh, check out this picture. You, me, and my friends." And I'm like, I stopped him. Like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "It's a bug. It's a bug on his shirt."
Yeah.
And I was like,
in the picture.
And I'm looking at it. And I'm like, "It's a pretty big fucking bug."
It was a cockroach, actually.
It was, but he was as big as the two of us, so
Yeah.
it was this big on him.
Yeah, on his shirt, the bug was like that. So the cockroach in real life must have been the size of a turtle. It was fucking huge. I've seen this picture. Yeah, he had a ton of a weird fucking happenstance like that. That I don't know. I could do a whole episode on we could do top 5 Karuba stories, but we won't do that because I'd like to sift through that and give that some thought. But he was one of those guys that if he was your friend, he would lay down in traffic with you. He'd do anything for you. So rest in peace, Karuba. But if we proceed with the top 5 thing, is there anything you had in mind? Anything you were thinking of?
I mean, I'm always down to talk about fucking music stuff.
Somebody asked me recently, a couple of times, top 5 favorite shows we've played with what band that we've done. Now that we don't have to. I can say that one of them, just because of the fucking intensity of the crowd, and it happened to be, man, this is fucked up that this is the case. This wasn't the reason this was one of my favorite shows that Blood for Blood played. But that time we played in San Francisco with Dropkick Murphys and you guys.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
you guys were like. So all right, that was at the Warfield where Slayer did that live album.
Yes.
The place was fucking huge. It held like 5,000 people.
Yep.
When you're the support bands in a band that big as Dropkick Murphys are, generally speaking, people don't give a fuck about you as
Yeah.
the opener.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You guys were like, it was all, don't take this the wrong way, Ken. It was almost like a co-headlining experience because there were people that went bonkers for Blood in a way that I've never seen an opener on a Dropkick Murphys show get
Yeah.
response.
And the things that I remember being really like they stand out because shows blur. I've played probably like maybe 1,000 shows. I couldn't even count it. And they start to blur together, even the big ones. So you start to remember shows for funny little reasons. But that night, I just remember we killed it. And I remember at one point, I think it was the breakdown during Bitch Called Hope, where it does the bam, 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 bitter, twisted motherfucker, bim, 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 bim. But the audience was doing that Paradise City thing, the bim, 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 bim. They were bouncing like 5,000 people. I was like, whoa. And I turned and looked around, and half the Rancid guys were watching.
Yeah.
Evan from Biohazard was there, which I could tell a story about, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it some other time. But it's a story worth telling for a few reasons. I think there were like some swinging others guys up there.
The transplants dude was there.
Yeah, that's right. Skinhead.
Yeah, Pennywise was there.
Yeah,
because they were dickheads to us, but they were in the process of kissing Ian's ass.
I
I wanted to slap the guy in the face and be like, "I've known this fucking guy since he was in Polyglot.
Yeah,
you're gonna make me the fucking."
And that guy over there is my goddamn brother. I don't remember that. I do remember them being there.
They would remember Steve, because Steve was playing with us at the time as a mega Pennywise fan, and he wanted to meet the guy, and the dude just like blew him off for the purposes of looking cool to Blood for Blood. Like, if anybody, like, come on, dude.
Steve was another guy that was a close personal friend of ours. I just remember looking back and seeing all these rock stars, and we were fucking killing it. And I was like, yeah, that's right. The other reason that show stands out is, believe it or fucking not, that show that day earlier was the first time I used heroin.
Really?
Yes, because it was the Tenderloin district of San Francisco, and I went up to one of the security guards and said, "Do you know your way around here?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll get you whatever you want." And I was like, "Get me some Oscar." He's like, "I'll try." He's like, "But I might have to get you something else." I was like, "Do what you got to do," because I had to do what I had to do. And he came back with black tar heroin, and this black tar heroin, by the way, sucks the root. It's like fucking nothing. It sucks. Sorry anybody from the West Coast. Maybe this, I've always heard it. I've never had any good black tar heroin, and I've heard anybody that's been around the block is never fond of it. But maybe there's good black tar out there. I don't fucking know. All I know is I didn't know what to do with it, because it's this big chunk of black tar.
Don't you have to like melt it?
Well, you got to melt it and shoot it, but I wasn't shooting at that point.
So you got no idea what to do with it.
And I'm like, how do I?
What, do you have to shove it up your ass?
No, I put it under my tongue. I got blasted. But I was like, what the fuck do I do with this? I would have. Maybe it wasn't the first time, because I did think, should I sniff it? And I found out later you could just put some warm water in it and sniff the warm water, and it would do it. But I just stuck it under my tongue. I was like, well, we'll see what happens. And then like 20 minutes, picture yourself on a boat in a river.
I got a beezer in the van that night.
Did you?
That's one of the only times anything like that's ever happened.
No shit.
Were you like, when you went on the road, were you like, you weren't like a cliche touring rock guy, right? Because I never was. I never like picked up women or anything.
It's funny you mention that. I never cheated on any of my girls. Nor did Ian. And if you notice I didn't mention anybody else, it's because I didn't mention anybody else. But yeah, me and Ian were true to our women. But when I wasn't with a woman, I would fuck anything that basically presented itself to me. Like came up and was like, let's go in the van.
What's up, I hope it didn't go that far.
No, I'm talking about like,
no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm making a joke about you being gay.
Yeah. Well, anybody that knows me knows that if I like to cock every once in a while, I'd be open about it, because what the hell do I hide?
Yeah.
But so I like to cock every once in a while, but I would watch the other guys chase everything from like the lowest bus station skank all the way to the most sophisticated, beautiful bus station skank, and watch them strike out like 50% of the time, and they'd put all this effort in, and they'd buy these drinks, and they'd try to be funny, and they'd fucking pursue them around. And well, one of them didn't do all that. He just pursued them, but I won't out anybody, but guess. But I'd watch this, and I'd be like, man, that is a whole lot of fucking effort for like, what, how long's an orgasm? Like 10 seconds?
I think it's more of the whole package that people would do that shit for. Like
affirmation and the whole thing?
Yeah.
I also remember I had already burned my tongue with the taste of the sun, so I was geared towards higher orders of pleasure, even by the point I mean, I told you in last week's
That was
episode.
a long time ago, too.
Yeah, it was. I told you a long time ago, not a long time ago, in last week's episode, Jesus. And then I said that. These are not the droids you're looking for. The first time I had sex, I actually kept putting it off downstairs while the girl was calling for me so I could keep drinking. So that's where my bandwidth really is. But by the time I had touched opiates, I was like, well, if a girl pulls me aside, like, I want to suck your dick in the fucking van. Yeah, sure. I mean, it would literally be like, I want to go in the van. Yeah, sure. You're going to get the keys from the roadie and I go in and see whatever happened. But if I had to pursue it, fuck that.
Yeah, no.
Like, just not worth the effort. I mean, unless, because the thing is, like, you're unlikely to get your salad tossed in like a, I mean, maybe some people do, and I did have it happen a couple of times, and I thought they were crazy. I was like, you must be determined to prove your fucking affinity for me, because I've been sitting in a van for 2 fucking days.
Oh my God. That reminds me so much of the Jimmy Gestapo bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was hilarious on stage. I want to lick your ass. Yeah. You don't want to lick my ass.
So Ducky Boys played several shows with Murphy's Law, always in Albany, and they would always play after us, use our gear, and they would play longer than they did the last time, so that we had to wait for them to finish. It was like a ball buster thing. But that night, Jimmy Gestapo was up on stage, and some girl goes, "I want to eat your ass!" And he's like,
stopped everything.
Like a needle came off the record, and he's like, huh? He's like, honey, I've been sitting in a van for 2 weeks. You don't want to eat my ass. The band kicks in. Dum 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 dum. He's like, you don't want to eat my ass. You don't want to eat my ass. You don't want to eat my ass. No, you don't want to eat my ass. As if they had rehearsed it.
Yeah.
It was fucking beautiful.
He was, first of all, a lot of the time, when they were operating on all thrusters, Murphy's Law had one of the most lethal fucking bands. I mean, they always had killer drummers, great fucking players, and versatile players.
And Raven, the saxophone player?
Yeah. They had some killer lethal lineups. But the other thing I was going to say is Jimmy is one of the most natural stage performers I've ever seen in my fucking life. I hope he's doing all right. I read somewhere recently that he needed some help with the surgery.
I think he is. I think he's doing better because they're. I traded messages with him on Instagram and he seemed very normal.
All right, good. I just heard he had a health problem.
He did have health problems, but I think there was like the Boss Tones did like a benefit for him, and a lot of other bands did too. But I think he's on the mend.
That is fucking great to hear, because that dude, if there's very few people you can attribute an entire fucking genre of music to, but he's one of them. Mm-hmm. That guy is like literally one of the fucking pioneers of the very music that I chose to commit my life to. And one of the best stage performers I've ever seen, whatever mood he was in.
He's so fucking funny.
The other, I have like really good Jimmy Gestapo stories, because every time we played with them, not just he and I, but certainly he and I and whoever else wanted to join, would just do shots. Like even if we were loading in at like 11, somebody would run out to get like a fifth of Jack Daniels and go to work. And one night we played with them.
That's crazy. He didn't load in until it was time to go on stage.
Well, every once in a while I'd run. Yeah, that's true. Every once in a while I'd run into him. But we started drinking with them at like noon at a show we played with them at Lupo's. Remember Lupo's?
Oh yeah.
And I drove home with Big Eric, and at some point the night goes black, and I wake up with Big Eric in his car. Do you know that fucking underpass right outside of Providence?
The one that's sharp turn?
Sharp turn under the bridge, and it's like a tunnel. We are stopped in the middle of that around the corner with him just engine running. I don't know how long we've been there. This is where I come to him. And I'm like, and he's like, and just drives off. Why am I sitting here? How am I sitting here? That was just one, and that was just like not even that entertaining, like, or at least not that extreme. I just woke up to like cars like, well, fuck you. There's like 6 burning vehicles near us. They died, we lived. Like, it was fucking crazy.
Fucking Simpsons character out of Big Eric.
Yeah, I saw him at that Middle East show that Ramallah sold out a couple of months ago. It was really good seeing him. We stayed in touch online. And we were gonna meet up, but then I kind of crashed and burned once again.
You reconnected with them eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was doing really well. So where the fuck were we? Oh, that was one of my favorite shows. What was one of yours?
I mean, there's really good shows happen for different reasons.
Yeah, that's it. It's not necessarily just a huge crowd and a sing along in a great pit.
Yeah.
That starts to blur. I'm sorry, it does.
One of the one of the best shows I've ever played was the first time Dirty Water reunited at TT the Bears, because it was a weekend of shows. That Friday night was Dirty Water, Saturday was Cockspara at the Greek American, at the place in Revere or whatever. Pete did the show.
Yeah.
Then,
hey, can I puff a snipe in here?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Then
I was hoping I'd get him to say no on camera.
Rancid was in town for the Sunday, Monday. So Dirty Water played Friday. Everybody flew in from all over the world for these shows. It just happened like everything just lined up the right way. And then Ducky Boys played with Rancid, so we got to play Friday night as Dirty Water. The crowd was awesome. They knew every word. Every word. Like even ones I didn't know.
Yeah.
And you can hear them on the video that I have from it. You can hear them singing over the band. And that's what made that show great. But I'm sure the Rancid one with Ducky Boys the following Monday was probably pretty good too, but I don't really remember it.
They do start to blur. Like I have images of playing like in front of like in Europe like 50,000 people. That time we went. I don't remember the name of the fest. I never remember the name of them. But that's just like an image. Like I don't have a super memory. Although that was the day that I stuck my head in Sepultura's fucking beer cooler because I fucking shot codeine and it lit my head on fire, and I had to barge into their trailer because our trailer was like 2 miles away. Stick my head in their beer cooler. Like I pushed him out of the way and stuck my head in, and I could hear him speaking in like Portuguese, like "Que pasó?" Like drogas. I heard like drugs.
What did they do? The Back to the Future 3 wake up juice for you so you could get on stage?
Yeah, really. No, I just had to wait for the histamine reaction to die down. Now I would never shoot codeine. Just shoot fentanyl. But
one fun show that I did with the Warning Shots is when we did that Big D and the Kids Table Halloween, where we just did a Green Day album.
Oh,
that was sort of like, you know what else I loved? I loved doing the
precious cigarette.
The Unloved got invited to do the 20th anniversary.
What this light? Sorry.
God damn it! Fucking talking here.
Yeah, go on.
We did the 20th anniversary of Nirvana's Nevermind, so we played a set of Nirvana songs. That was really fucking awesome too.
Which band did that?
The Unloved.
No shit.
We fucking nailed it.
I've
never. Sorry, I'm picking my nose right in front of the camera. Hang on. I've never sang songs by another singer that was so easy for me to do as Kurt Cobain.
He's right in my range too.
It was the easiest thing, and it was like I was at practice. Like I can't fucking believe I'm nailing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I sound like fucking Sting. But
this isn't a show. Were you gonna? Oh, finish though.
I'm done.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut people off, but it's like my nature. But I actually listen too. You get a bit of both. If I get excited, I might barge over you. But if you got something you got to tell, God knows how many thousands of people out there have told me horrific stuff, and I truly listen. But so I'm a good listener. I like walks on the beach. But
putting chapstick on is really one of the most first world problems you could possibly have. Like, I need to tend to my chapped lips.
Yeah.
Fucking pussy.
I'm not going to tell you what I used to do with chapstick.
Oh, thank you.
One of my best musical experiences. It's not a show. It was Blood for Blood. Was practicing for those Wasted Night shows that got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to use the Unseen spot. It was also Tenebrae spot. And we were there were a ton of people there, and I hadn't been playing in a while. Craig was there, and the rest of the band went outside to take a break, and Bob Falzano, the editor of this show, who played on some unreleased Blood for Blood shit that's killer, that may or may not get heard someday, I don't know.
It is killer.
Yeah, it is killer. Can't lie. What do you want me to be, false modest? No, I ain't gonna be. No, really, that stuff fucking rocks out with its cock out. But Bob and Craig lurched into Outshined by fucking
Soundgarden?
Soundgarden. I grabbed the mic and sang that. I didn't even really know the song that well. I sang that song from beginning to end, down to the ululations and everything.
I could see you being in the range of Chris Cornell.
I didn't think I was at all.
He's well, sorry, God rest his soul. He was a great singer.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't think I had that type of voice in me. I fucking nailed the fuck out of it. It was utterly impromptu.
I can totally see that.
And they nailed it. But the thing was, Ian and Buddha came running in. They barged the door open like, who the fuck? And then when it made me feel good because Ian stopped and saw me and went, oh, and like walked out like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, yeah. It was just one of those weird things.
I would run back in to see who the fuck was nailing that song too.
Yeah, I wish I brought my cigs with me. I didn't. This one's empty. All right. Another one was that time I was getting the tempo for Dead So Soon in the studio for Dustin. No, it was in the practice space while we were getting ready for the studio. And he had his Dr. Rhythm, and he's listening, and he's tapping it out. So I'm just playing the dan dick dick dan 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 dick dan dick dan dick dan dan.
He was like, you have really great tempo.
He stops and he just watches the Dr. Rhythm for like 4 minutes. And finally I stopped and was like, "You got the tempo?" He's like, "I got the tempo like 4 minutes ago." He's like, "You were dead on it for the next 4 fucking minutes. I've never seen anybody do that." Coming from Dustin, who was so meticulous about tempo, I was like,
"Oh, thank you, mein Führer."
Thank you, yeah. Thank you, mein Führer.
God, there was something with, yeah. When we first jammed with Dustin, I felt like my balls dropped.
Yeah.
When he sat down and started giving it that, just the kick and snare, just something simple that you would...
The first thing we did was Bad Luck by Social Distortion, and he just killed it.
People don't understand because they've never played, if they haven't played with a great drummer.
If you haven't played with a great drummer with a great pocket, and especially if you've been playing like punk, frenetic, edgy, nervous, spastic punk rock your whole life, and you remember how I kept saying, there's a certain type of drummer we need. I didn't know the language yet. But we kept trying drummers out, and I'd be like, no, it's not that, not that, not that. What I was looking for was that big Foo Fighters flying thing, where you just feel like big rock. Dustin came in and he shit that shit.
I can't explain it, but between the kick and the snare, it felt like forever.
Yeah.
It would be like a big meaty boom. You feel it in your gut.
Yep.
And like at the very last second, when you gotta get that snare hit in there, he gets it in right at the last second.
Well, what you just described precisely is what a deep pocket is. You're staying on the metronome, you're staying on whatever the tempo of the song is, but you're putting as much tension on the kick snare as you can without deviating from the beat, and it is an art form.
It is.
Dustin used to say, if you don't practice 40 hours a week doing just this thing, and he could play speed metal. That we used to run through Damage Incorporated like it was nothing.
Well, he played on Outlaw Anthems.
Yeah, he's the drummer from Outlaw Anthems. Hands down, the best feel, as far as drummers go, the best feel I've ever encountered. Dustin was it. Now, as far as like other shows, I could tell you that the last time RAMALLAH played in Connecticut, I think it was Waterbury. We played with 100 Demons and...
oh, that's the one I went to.
Yeah, 100 Demons.
You guys were great.
Well, I don't know about that, thank you. I'm sure we were. But what I remembered was actually being daunted by how fucking ferocious the dancing was. I mean, I literally was like, I don't want to go near there. I was like staying away from the edge of the pit. Helicopter spin kicks, like it was so violent. And the thing was, since RAMALLAH's come back, we don't get historically, unless we do a Blood for Blood song, we don't get the sing-alongs that Blood for Blood gets. But we get a level of ferocity with the dancing that I don't even remember from the Blood for Blood days. But the odd thing is, for all of that violence, there has only been like 2 fights at RAMALLAH shows since we've been back. Whereas when RAMALLAH did the Blood for Blood set at This Is Hardcore, nobody really danced. There was dancing, of course. It was mostly a big sing-along thing, but there were like 10 fights.
Dude, do you remember the... I was there at the Rat back when they used to play.
I'm not going to get into heaven from the things I merely saw. I'd like to wash my eyes for the things I merely saw from stage at the Rat. Never mind the crap I participated in.
There were things where, like, you guys would be on your 3rd song and it would be the 6th fucking fight.
Yeah.
They kept happening, but you guys never stopped. I made a song up in the late 90s that was going to go on the next Ducky Boys record that never was, called The Band Played On. It was supposed to be like a spoof on the band that played on the Titanic.
Yeah.
But it was going to be about how you guys never stopped when a fight broke out. They would just turn their backs.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden
we weren't seeing it.
They didn't know a fight was going on. They would just turn around rocking with their backs to the audience.
Yeah.
But
I was of a different mindset back then.
Yeah.
Our literal mission was to play the Rat someday. When we started as a band, the only goals we had was to play the Rat so our friends could have cool music to fuck people up to. Particularly Allstonians. Because as the guy from Anal Cunt used to say, you know, fuck Alston.
Yeah.
Now I have a bunch of friends in Alston now, but back then I didn't. So
yeah,
fuck
we were
them.
too young to have friends in Alston back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were some funny times, man. Used to have that small amp that you'd put on a chair.
My first show. And you know who actually made me feel better about that? Craig Silverman happened to be there. This is when Witness was fucking the band in Boston. Packed every club they fucking played. And Craig came up to me after and was like, great set. And I was like, I feel like a fucking chump. I'm up there with a fucking $50 my first PV fucking solid state amp chair. It was like a hunk of shit. And he's like, we all started there. What the fuck? You got to play with what you got. It made me feel better. I felt like I was like, I'm gonna have a beer. I feel better. It's cool.
You know, there was I have some funny memories from back then. There was that time I wanted to go see Only Living Witness at TT's, and shit had happened with them in town.
Keep your voice up.
So they weren't really able to play all that often.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But I was like, I really want to go see Only Living Witness. They were putting out the Freak Law 7-inch, so it was their first follow-up to Pro Model Form before.
Which is a fucking. I still listen to that album regularly.
As do I, and it comes out tomorrow on vinyl for the first time since its original release, and I can't wait.
No shit.
Anyway.
I don't care about material possessions, so.
Yeah, I kind of do. Well, it's not. I don't. It's just a sickness. Anybody who buys vinyl has a sickness. But anyway, so there was a couple of times where I wanted to go to shows where you thought there might be trouble there, so you rounded up like a fucking posse to go to the show. This guy gets like 10 people together for me to go see Only Living Witness play at TT the Bears for like 10 minutes before I was like, all right, that's all I need to see.
Yeah. But that was the early 90s in Boston. Like, people got stabbed at fucking shows. People got cue-balled. That happened at every Blood for Blood show. You think I'm exaggerating. I'm fucking understating. The grass behind the rat must have been the most fertilized. What do the Marine Corps say? What makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. The grass behind fucking the rat should have been like bamboo 50 feet tall.
I'll never forget that show with the...
Don't mention names if you could.
No, I wouldn't mention names. Oh. Except that the Bruises played because the Mac Lads didn't.
Oh, I remember that.
And...
Mac Lads got hemmed up at the airport.
Something like that, yeah. But the Bruises... That was the one where Al's going like, we have the really great Kool-Aid up here. And we're trying to like get people's attention. The fight started.
Yeah.
But then this fight took it out into the parking lot. And I'll never forget getting showered in crumbs of a person's teeth from brass knuckles hitting them in the face. I mean, just going like, oh, it's like flakes of teeth hitting you. It's just disturbing.
I've seen I'll stop there. It's in some of the lyrics if you want to sift through them. But I've seen the inside things that shouldn't be on the outside, on the ground. Things that are supposed to be locked safely away, but that stuff blurred. All it did was pervade the rest of my life with a constant sense of menace and peril. Where I preferred to go was this place where you could literally get covered in blood in 3 seconds. Like, something would happen and all of a sudden there would be blood hitting the ceiling.
Christ.
Oh, I'll give you another show for that reason. I mean, I could go for hours on just seeing horrific things, but that fucking Lewiston, Maine riot. People were... There was only one way into the club.
I saw the video.
No, not Lewiston. There was no video of that. You talking about the benefit at the asylum?
Yes. Are you talking about...
No, that was another one.
Okay.
That was Old Town, Maine. That was Old Town, Maine. That was horrific too, but for different reasons. Old Town was horrific only because it was the first time I saw something that bad at one of our own shows. The asylum show, the benefit that we used to refer to as the soccer riot. That was funny because if you watch the video, it was like Where's Waldo. Every time you watched it, you'd see a new fight. And one of the best things is in the middle of our set, about 3 songs in, there's like 25 fights going on, including in the lobby, in addition to in the club.
At the fucking t-shirt stand.
At the t-shirt stand. That was the one where Vieira, I said, did you see anything that happened out front? And I was like, no. We talking evil? He goes, evil doesn't begin to cover it. I was like, okay. But that one, there's a video where there's all these fights and you're just like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. And in the middle of it all, there's this one kid looking around. He's like fucking 15 and he just goes like this. He's looking at the fights everywhere, all these different fights, and he just goes and starts breaking his own nose, covers his t-shirt in blood, and it was like the coolest thing. The whole time, Howie's filming, and he's doing
crushing people's heads.
Yeah, crushing people's heads. As people get knocked out, he's like, crush your heads, crush your heads. It was fucking awesome, but that truly was horrific. Only in its magnitude, like as far as like, not magnitude, how much there was, but the Lewiston, Maine show was so bad, there was only one stairway up into the club, and it was wicked steep. And we start playing, and about one song in, this horrific brawl breaks out. And we're up in Lewiston, Maine, so it's not, it's even. The local townies are as mean as the people we brought in. And it wasn't fun, like a brawl. It was just stabbings, bottles going into people's faces, people wrenching heads, biting. And the best part is, while we're playing, people are pushing past us to jump out the 2.5-story windows behind us to escape because they didn't want to go down the stairs.
Holy shit.
They didn't want to go up front. It was horrific. There was blood on the ceiling, and we don't know how it got there. The only way it could get arterial, if it's spraying the ceiling, which was like 9 feet up.
They have to call in that guy that's on Forensics Files all the time, the Japanese guy, the blood splatter.
Yeah, the blood splatter guy. That was fucking horrific, and I could do this for hours. I could probably be a good podcaster to get like a hypnotist on here to hypnotize me, make me go deep and find the stuff I suppressed. His eyeball is on my shirt. But I suppose we hacked at a top 5, I guess.
I think the first Ducky Boy show was kind of nice because the crowd responded to us in a nice way, and I had never experienced anything like that before. I was a loser in high school. I didn't achieve anything, so it was the first time I was like, wow, people actually like something I do. But I don't get that much of a jolt out of playing live shows. To me, the best part of playing music is when you make the song up in your house and it's done, and it's just you on an acoustic guitar. But one of my favorite shows we played was shortly after 3 Chords and the Truth came out, and we played at TT the Bears, and people knew all the words really quickly. I think it was like December, and we had put it out in November, and that was nice to be able to be like, holy shit, like they know the words more than I do.
Yeah.
That's always a mindfuck too, because some people probably take for granted like that people know your songs, but like these are songs I made up in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And if somebody knows the words and listens to them, it kind of weirds me out. So I guess that probably wraps up my top 5. Oh no, wait, whoa, hey. In 1998 on Halloween, we played at Rancid at the Palladium. We were the fucking kings of the world. So that was the greatest show ever.
Yeah.
But, that's for another story, another day.
I will just say in closing as well that for me, the trip was always the studio. That's where I live and breathe.
Yeah.
The studio, I fucking love it. For me, playing live has become more, it was fun in my 20s, then it became kind of grinding, and now I enjoy it because I just get to see people I don't often see, but for me it always lives and breathes in the studio. The live facilitates that, but we're going to wrap up because this is actually getting longer than I usually do.
I really got to piss too.
It's crazy. Yeah, I have to have a cigarette. I'm going to fucking suck my fingers in front of all of you because they're like fucking, they look like beef jerky from the fucking smoke. All right, my love to you all. Hang in there. Be back with something different topic, probably something darker and more severe and horrific next week. But I'd love to you all. Hang in there. If you're in a place to do so, try to count your blessings, not for anyone else, but for yourself.
Things can always get better.
Where there's breath, as long as you're still breathing, there's hope for better ways and better days. That doesn't mean you're ever going to be a fucking millionaire. It doesn't mean you're ever going to be a fucking rock star. It doesn't mean you're ever going to fucking get back things that you lost. But you might get new things, or at the very least, find some peace you never thought you could. So hang in there for that. My love to you all. See you next week, guy.